It's good day. Welcome to another scintillating edition of your favorite sport program on TV, 360 SPORTS. A lot of people have been in the mood of Christmas, as we know that we're in the last month of the year. Many activities have been going on, and not forgetting also that sports has resumed fully in Nigeria. And 2021 will be a very, very big year as regards to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics that are supposed to take place this year. Away from the foreign scene also, we also know that many interesting moments in the world of sport is taking place in Nigeria. All those backlogs of sporting activities that has been held down because of COVID-19 are coming out in fullness of the activities, and that's why we're bringing you this story all the way from our Abuja, our correspondent, and this is as regards to the unveiling of a foreign coach for the cricket national team. Talking about the national coach who has been appointed was unveiled yesterday. I was talking about Azakan Gurusima, who is the coach of the cricket federation. He is not just going to be the coach. He is the head coach and resource manager, someone that will have to undo all the whole cricket federation as regards to coaching. So we'll take your mind to Abuja at the National Stadium to see the unveiling that was done by the Cricket Federation, where we also have the cricket president in attendance. Enjoy this, and when we come back, we'll take your mind back to the National Stadium in Lagos.
Now, one of the aspects of our five-point agenda with the growth of the game, we felt that at a point we will need somebody who is more informed about this game, who has seen it all, from grassroots development to top of the game, to help us out. And this was the reason why, beginning of this year, we decided to employ a coach that will head not only the coaching program in Nigeria, but our grassroots and other high performance programs. And of the 32 applicants that we processed, Mr. Asanka Gurusia came top of the list.
I'm actually going to meet all the players after this, and I haven't met them other than a few players, as I mentioned, on a Zoom call. So I'll discuss with them, and the next 6-7 days we'll be playing some games, and I'll be actually watching them for the first time. And then we'll sit down with the selectors and look at our planning ahead, because without seeing these players, it's very difficult to put some plans together and say this is where we are heading. But I think President touched something which is very close to me as well, which is the fitness and fielding side. Those two are two areas that we can all control very easily. It's not opposition controlling that, we can control that. And it's very important, especially T20 cricket. It is tough. People think it's 20 overs, it's 40 overs, finished in 3 hours. Players are very, very tired, and if you're not fit, it's very difficult to get through those games, and playing 5-6 games within 10 days in ICC tournament is not easy.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt.
That's the unveiling of the cricket head coach, talking about Asakan Gurusama, who we saw was unveiled yesterday in Abuja. Away from that in cricket, we take you straight to where we have retired Naval Commodore Nesama Omateshe, who is the former technical director of AFN, and is also the co-chairman of the Ministerial Committee on the Restoration of the National Stadium in Abuja and also in Lagos. This is not the first time he's our guest, so we just want our viewers to know that work is going on in all these stadiums. That's talking about the MK Abiola Stadium in Abuja and also the National Stadium in Lagos. Good afternoon, sir. It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's almost 5 months since the the minister has decided to bring back a new face to the National Stadium in Lagos and the MK Abiola Stadium. And we spoke on the phase 1 and also the phase 2 of the restoration of this stadium. Can you tell us what's the latest development on the in Lagos and also the MK Abiola Stadium?
Well, what I can say is that the program is on course. My committee, which is actually supposed to get rid of illegal structures and demolish them and restore the National Stadium Lagos to its original state to enable further developments to take place. We have done our job. We have concluded that. We have submitted a report, and we were to do it with some fanfare before the NSAS thing came, and trying to identify with the mood of the country, it was no need trying to do any fanfare. But we didn't also want the work to stop. Engaged with the minister and the PAMSEC, and he told us that, well, so long as the report is ready and it's been handed over, it will be implemented as it is given. So the fanfare report submission was eventually jettisoned. But in order not to also waste time with the timeline, the other phase, which is that of renovating the main bowl of the National Stadium, as adopted by Sir Kensington Adebutu, aka Baba Ijebu, that had commenced. I'm made to understand that the contractor has moved to site and the work has commenced. With this done, or this ongoing, I believe that the timeline given for that aspect to be concluded will be concluded as well. So, in a nutshell, the program is on course to rehabilitate and prepare the National Stadium for international and even local competitions. Is still on course.
Okay, so you do want to also remind Nigerians, because we know the national stadium we're talking about is a national pride and it's something that brings a lot of Nigerians together. And we also know that future champions that have brought the glories to the country are found in this national stadium in Nigeria. Like you said in the past, it would do well if you could remind us of what Nigerians should be expecting at the end of the renovation.
I have said this times without number, and I'll repeat it. Based on the minister's vision, the National Stadium by next year should be able to host an international competition, both in athletics and in football. And these are the two main sports that occupy the main bowl of the National Stadium. And those are the two that has also been absent from that National Stadium over the years. Some other sporting activities have been going on in the stadium. So these two are the ones that Lagosians and even indeed Nigerians are yearning to see back to National Stadium Lagos. These two will definitely, by the grace of God, come back by next year to this stadium, where we can be able to hold international competitions without inhibitions, both football and track and field.
When we talk about this stadium, we also know that in Abuja there's renovation and upgrade of some facility. At what stage has it been completed, or is still work in progress as regards to Dangote, Alhaji Aliko Dangote taking over some facilities in the stadium? Give us an update, like you've done on Lagos, on what do we have a new scoreboard there already? As I'm talking about the MK Abiola Stadium in Abuja.
To be honest with you, that is outside of my mandate. I only passed through. Because of interest, I visited, I see work ongoing. The extent to which the job or the scope of the job itself, I don't know. I don't have that information, so I can't talk on that. But that work is going on. The work actually started even before the end of our committee job with regards to the removal of illegal occupant and demolition of illegal structures in that of Lagos. So that is ahead of the Lagos project. So I expect that to, in all honesty, even be completed before that of Lagos. But it all depends on the speed of the boat contractors.
Yeah, do you think we'll lose that pride that comes with going into the national stadium when we have a new face? Is it going to re-energize interest into sport, or is it going to take away that spirit of belonging that is always attached to the national stadium in Surulere? Hence that a lot of spectators, a lot of illegal structure have been taken out. Do you think we still get the old stadium even in a new state?
The truth is, I'm old enough and I've gone to that stadium right from the very beginning. When the stadium actually was hosting major events, we didn't have the kind of structures that we had until the recent past. In fact, when we started having these structures littering all over the place was when top sporting activities stopped at the stadium. So we now traded active sporting events to active business ventures, which is supposed to be the other way around. To compensate for, we also know the way the stadium had been structured in modern times, it may not be able to sustain itself. So the committee also recommended that there must be some forms of commercial or business activities that would complement the sporting activities of that the stadium is actually structured to. Beyond the commercial activities, we also recommended that there should be some tourist activities, tourism related activities that should also be part of the new stadium outlook. These two major recommendations have been endorsed by the ministry, and the ones that require presidential approval has also been sought. So in no time, we should be finding in addition to the renovation that is going on right now, a situation whereby we would be able to properly situate business and commercial activities to an aspect of the stadium which we have identified that will not disrupt the aesthetics and the beauty and the proper use of the National Stadium for sporting and related activities. That will be done as soon as the presidential nod is given finally. That will come to place. Beyond that, we also recommend a situation where people can actually live from different parts of the country to visit the National Stadium for the sake of the edifice it is as a national monument. An edifice that will be able to see a kind of Hall of Fame for people that have done this nation proud in the area of sports. We'll be able to see and read about them and study them and actually identify with some of their philosophies. These are things that will be keeping the National Stadium alive, whether they are sporting events, international or local, going on or not. So we find a situation whereby the stadium itself will become a beehive of activities that are more meaningful, that are more progressive, that are nationalistic in nature, and will attract even international tourists to come to Nigeria, come to Lagos for the sake of touring the National Stadium. We also feel that the stadium should have a very, very beautiful park that people can actually come around with their families or friends just to enjoy the good scenery. and enjoy a little picnic. So those are some of the things that we have recommended that will form the new outlook of the National Stadium Lagos.
Okay. But there's something that's always been part of the stadium for a very long time. And you talk about ventures that it will accommodate some ventures. Will it continue that tradition of renting space to religious bodies, renting space to social events, weddings, and some of these activities that take place on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays? Was it part of the recommendation, or this might be the end of such activities at the National Stadium in Lagos?
The National Stadium is not designed originally for weddings, nor is it designed for major religious activities. So it is structured and designed for sporting and sporting related activities. Those ones will definitely have its full pride of place. It will have its full consideration in the new dispensation. If other kinds of activities will come there, it will go through the rigorous process of approval. And those processes would also entail the fact that the contributory nature of such events to national development, physical and psychological development of sporting personalities and athletes will be seen. If those things are not seen, then there might be no use releasing the stadium for such ventures. But if they're able to identify that is in the interest of the national psyche, the sporting enhancement and physical development of Nigerians, both spiritual and what have you, then if they pass the process of vetting and approval, then they will do that. But I know there will be some strict conditions attached to such things, such that it will not deface the stadium outlook or aesthetics, or neither will it affect the structures and what have you. Once that can be scaled through, then they might get approval. But if not, I don't see anybody giving such approval.
Interesting. And I think one or two more questions before we call it a day on today's segment of interview with you. You said earlier, the last interview we had, about some edifice might not be taken away from the National Stadium. You mentioned the LOC office, that's the local organizing committee at Olympic. We also mentioned the SWAN Secretariat, which a member of which I belong. And it's just that, has that really changed? And what other edifice, at the end of the day, has been able to stand after your work has been done?
Yes, we consider these, we mentioned them, they are important edifices. They contribute, they support the activities of sportsmen and women of this country. So we felt there was no need pulling them down. Pulling them down would mean us rebuilding somewhere, which of course resources are not there to do with such ventures. If eventually those bodies will have to leave the stadium, the facilities themselves will be put into use for better other purposes, while another place is given to them to develop the structures. But for now, the structures stand. The minister has also approved that they will remain until, at least for the immediate future. If the future outlook of the stadium now requires such structures to move completely out of the stadium complex, then that will be done. For now, though, they remain.
Apart from those two, lastly, apart from those two, any other one that wasn't faced off with the process of renovation?
The people touted the Bry Ionity Sporting Boxing Complex that accommodated the hostel, Atlas Hostel, and a kind of bar.
The old school section of the stadium.
That was, and also even what's this other restaurant at Ojes?
Okay.
Okay, what we did was to critically look at those structures. Unity is synonymous to boxing. The gym is ever relevant to boxing. The hostel, when I was technical director of the AFN, I had many occasions to have come to my athletes there, either when they are leaving the country, just before they fly, or when they return, probably very late. They come there before they are released to go back to their respective areas of abode. So the hostel is very useful to athletes. But what was we felt was not in order was the kind of beer parlor or something that was just adjoining the place. And we pulled it down. We pulled it down because it was going to be a distraction to athletes in the hostel. If it was a hotel, then that could probably have complemented the hotel as an area for the guests to recreate or cool off. But being that the place is a hostel, we felt athletes would lose concentration if they remain there in camp or what have you, and we have such loud music and other things, activities happening just around the place. So because of that, we pulled that structure down. The Ojes restaurant, which was at the main bowl, is actually organic to the main bowl. That should actually serve as the VIP lounge for any major competition. Recently, it was even renovated. We thought it, we saw it was good, we left it. That we could defend. But the extension, which was just around outside of the main bowl, where people, journalists like you also hang out most of the time, we pulled it down. So for now, the structures that remain the structures that should remain actually. So by and large, we are happy with what we have done, and the minister is very happy with what we have done, and we're happy for the fact that Nigerians understood, even those that were involved in, that were affected by some of our actions, at the end of it, commended us. Most of them cooperated with us. The whole school person and the OJs, in fact, at the time, they even took down their structures themselves to avoid it being damaged by our actions. So we are working. We shook hands at the end of it all. So there was no ill feelings from anywhere.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you on our program today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. That's the former AFN technical director talking about retired Navy Commodore Omateshe. He is also the co-chairman on the Ministry Appointee Committee on the restoration of the National Stadium in Surulere. If you are just joining us, this is TV360 SPORTS, and my name still remains Mudashiru Shitu. Same time next week, we'll bring you what you need to know in the world of sport. Like I do say at the end of every program, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.